Okay, let's talk about parallel lines cut by a transversal line. So here we have a pair of parallel lines, and there's this third transversal line. Now, in a previous video, I talked about corresponding angles. So we know, for example, that this angle and this angle are congruent. They're copies of each other. Well, if we put together the idea of corresponding angles and the idea of vertical angles, we can get some more congruencies here. So for example, this angle is congruent to that angle because they're vertical angles. Likewise, this angle is congruent to that angle because vertical angles. And if you link some of these together, you can start to say, for example, that this angle has to be congruent to this angle because it's congruent to this one, which is congruent to that one. So you kind of leapfrog this angle, and you say that one is congruent to that one's congruent to that one. So these two have to be congruent. So if you can explain that as a sort of a chain of congruencies, that works. But this congruency also has a name, which is that alternate exterior angles, and a lot of times we abbreviate alternate exterior angles are congruent if the lines are parallel. Okay. We can use a similar thought process to talk about this angle compared to this angle. So if this angle is congruent to that one because of corresponding, and this one's congruent to that one because of vertical, then that one has to be congruent to that one because it's a chain, right? That's the same as that, that's the same as that, so those two have to be the same. Now, if you don't want to explain the whole chain, this congruency also has a name. Alternate interior angles are congruent if the lines are parallel.